Hey, bookwormies. Oh my god. Okay, wait a second. That was a bad intro. Anyways, hey bookwormies, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the January wrap up. I cannot believe January has literally already ended. I'm filming this on February 1st. What the fuck? Like, I feel like January always goes slow, but then at the same time it feels fast. Like, what do you mean I'm already a month into the new year? What do you mean? That is so weird to think about, but you know, that's fine. Like, I don't know. This month just felt so slow to me, but then at the same time, like, now that it's ended, I'm like, fuck, it went fast. You know? I don't know. Just me? Just me. Anyways, let's get talking. I will be crocheting while I'm talking to you guys because I am making a sweater and I'm reaching flow state. I can't just stop, okay? But I also needed to film, so I was like, fuck. I'm just gonna film, and it's gonna be a cozy little January wrap-up. I'm crocheting a sweater using mohair yarn, you guys. If you guys watch my little life reading vlog, which if you haven't, go watch that. Where have you been? It's last week's video. It's not full of spoilers, so you're good. But yeah, I've been crocheting a sweater. You might have saw me like literally just starting it. Now I'm on the second panel, the back panel, or the front panel, whichever it will be, and I am like over halfway done with it, so I'm really happy about that. But anyways, let's get started about talking what I read in the month of January. I started January with The Fifth Season. This is a book I was hearing sort of about. It's not really popular. Like, I think I maybe saw one person talk about it, and that's why I put it in my TBR. But like, it wasn't overly talked about. It isn't. At least I don't think it's really a big bookish, like, book talk book. And I just found it, and I remembered about it, and I was like, wait, this sounds interesting. And so I decided to read it. Okay, just for the people that don't know what it's about, let me explain a bit. It's gonna take a second for me to explain, so bear with me. So, we are sort of following, in a way, three different timelines. Well, three different people, right? We have Essen. She is a normal person, a woman living an ordinary life until she comes home to find that her husband brutally murdered her son and kidnapped their daughter. What the fuck, right? Then we have Sanze, which is a empire. Okay, it's not a human being; it's an empire, and they have like this crazy innovation thing that has sort of like that has pretty much been the civilization's bedrock for thousands of years, and it collapses as most citizens are murdered to serve a madman's vengeance. Okay, and across the heart of this kingdom, we have the stillness. Okay, which is a red drift that has been torn into the heart of the earth, which causes like ash to spew enough to darken the skies for years, or maybe even centuries. Okay, and we pretty much follow as like Essen, she's like pursuing the wreckage of her family, and without sunlight, clean water, or any arable land, and with like minimal food and like livestock, there will be war across the entire stillness, which is like the kingdom sort of, right? Like it's Sanze is a kingdom, and this is, I feel like, a smaller section. I don't know how to explain it, okay? But she's like, there's a whole battle going on, and not for power territory, but pretty much just for basic necessities because of what's going on in the stillness, okay? And she just doesn't care. She's just like, I need to go save my daughter. This is all I care about, right? But technically, as I said earlier, this is sort of like following three different plot points. Let me explain. So, let me explain a bit more about the stillness. The stillness is a place where a bunch of natural disasters happen. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other things, right? But there are these certain people. I forgot their names. Is there a name here? No, I don't know I forgot their names. I think they're originals or something like that. I don't know. But they can pretty much, organs. They can control and manipulate the earth so then they won't have these earthquakes going on, right? But the thing is, they are pretty much oppressed slaves. Because everybody thinks that they are dangerous and need to be controlled. While literally they're fucking saving the world. But okay, do what you want with that. And it is illegal to harbor these people, right? So if you have one in your family, you have to turn it in, or else like the law enforcement sort of will kill them, right? And if you turn them in, they will go into this like training school called Fulcrum, which is really interesting. I don't know. And there's like all these kinds of seasons that happen in this stillness, you know. Like, you're sort of like, the world is very interesting. I really enjoyed that part of it. Because it's so different. It is so different. For me, with fantasies, a lot of them, I feel like now, is like maybe they have this place and there's war going on over territory or power or something like that, right? I don't really see a lot of worlds where the problem is that they can barely have any necessities and they have well, obviously, I feel like this is a lot very popular where like there'll be like, authors will make it so there are people that have magic powers, but they're hated or they're loved. I feel like there's no in between. You know? Okay, also, I forgot to say this, but except for Isan, who was looking for her daughter, even like pretty much trying to find her husband and take her daughter back. We also are following two other point of views. We have Demaya. She is a small girl who finds out she's an origin by a freak accident, and her family pretty much is like, ain't no way we are gonna keep her in our family. We have to send her away. And so her parents call up the authorities, and they're like, take my child, she's an organ. And she is sent to Fulcrum to train and, and become submissive, pretty much. And then the last point of view is Sinai. She's a young woman who has lived a majority of her life in Fulcrum. That's where her home is, pretty much. And as Fulcrum sounds amazing, they're harboring them and they're teaching them how to use their powers, right? She, as you learn that, as you learn your capabilities, you sort of get rings that signify your power, and that kind of give you more privilege. If you're a 4-ringer, you're pretty strong. It just you kind of have to sort of pass these tests to become that, right? Sinai has 4 rings, which is impressive, but she's assigned to breed with this one dude who is a 10-ringer. Yeah, and he's the only one ever that has been a 10-ringer. And she can give Fulcrum the child that will hopefully be super powerful and very trainable and very submissive, And yeah, that's sort of what we're following. We also obviously have side characters. But I really enjoyed the story. It was so interesting. It's so different. At some points, obviously, I did enjoy more different point of views from others, but it was still a very cool world. There's so many different people, so many different plots going on, but it's just so interesting to follow. And the book ended crazy, but I don't know if I'm going to be continuing the series. Probably I will. It is in my series to be continued, and it is a trilogy, so it's not too long, which I love. Also, I don't know if this is a deal breaker or what, but, well, I don't know. For me, I think maybe that was one of the reasons why this was in my TBR in the first place. But Rick Riordan, Reddit, if you don't know who Rick Riordan is, you're living under a rock. He pretty much wrote the entire Percy Jackson universe, But yeah, I think that's maybe why I put this there. But I really enjoyed this book. I rated it 4.5 stars. It's so interesting. The world building is so good. The writing is good. It's not too descriptive. It's not too lyrical. It's just there, and it's perfect, and it's fantasy. There is, some romance, but it's not a romantasy. It's a fantasy with a very short, tiny subplot of romance, It's not fully fantasy romance, not romantasy. Next, I decided to read a novel love story. This, I was sort of putting off. I feel like I always put off this author's books. Wait, what is the name of the author? I keep forgetting. Ashley Poston. So I read her book 7 Year Slip a long time ago. It was my first romance book. I loved it. Then I put off her reads for a long time. And then finally I read the autumn book. I forgot the name of it, but it's also really interesting. It has to do with ghosts. And then now I finally read in January a novel love story, which was her release of 2024. And she also released one last year, 2025, and I think she's releasing a new one this year. I don't know. But pretty much I finally decided to read this because I've been hearing thoughts on a novel love story, and I felt like I needed to read it. It pretty much follows Ellen Merriweather, and she loves a good happily ever after. She loves reading, right? She is though a professor of literature, so and she's every year she goes with her friends to a book club retreat every year, like clockwork. And she's like, okay, all I need in life is some good friends, some cheap wine, and grand romantic gestures by book boyfriends. But then her friends bail on her, all of them. They're like, hey, sorry, I have this year. And she's like, you know what, I'll still go to the cabin. But then as she's driving to that cabin, which is sort of in the middle of nowhere, I believe, her car breaks down on the way. And she's stranded in a quaint town, which feels like it's right outside of a novel, which it is, actually. She is a nun. The town is called Eloriton, which is the town of her favorite romance series, where there's the candy store, the local burgers bar, and local bar burger, whatever. And it has everything. It's literally her favorite book series in real life, which I feel like is a dream for a lot of us. Well, probably not if you're in Boys of Tommen or some shit like that, because of how dark it is. But whatever. The thing is, the only problem is that the town is perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story, because the author died before she could complete the series, before she could finally write the last book in the series. And she's like, wait, I know what I'm doing here. I know why my car broke down here. I'm here to help bring the town to its storybook ending, to let it complete, But there is a character in Eloriton that she can't quite place. He is a grumpy bookstore owner, right? And he does not want her to finish this book. He does not want her to interfere with the town and where it is at right now, which is a problem because Ellen, she she's like, well, the town's happily ever after might have to do with me. She's like, no, I have to help. And we sort of follow that journey. It is fun. The whole idea is like, I love how it's like literally like, it's sort of my dream in a way. It's like if I would be in Windy City series, I would be happy ever after. Seeing all those characters would make me happy as fuck, But and we just follow this story. At the start, when I just finished reading this, I sort of gave it like a 5 stars because I was on a high. I was like, wait, I actually love this. I love the bookishness of it. Is that a word? I don't think so. I just really enjoyed it. But now I think honestly, after the high that I got from it, it's not a 5 star. It's more so, I think, like a 4 or a 4.5. I really enjoyed the story. It was so fun. It was so quick to read. And, like, it was just exactly what I needed in the moment. It had its, like, problems. It wasn't, like, a super rom-com-y book, but it just, like, it felt so outlandish, but then so groundbreaking. I don't know how to explain it. So probably that's why I wanted to rate it 5 stars at the start. But now, honestly, I'm at a 4.5. I haven't really thought about the book since reading it, which is why I am lowering it. I did rate it, so like maybe you guys might see on Goodreads or something that like says 5 stars. It's a 4.5. That's my final rating for it. I did really enjoy it. I just didn't go crazy over it, Next, I read The Obelisk Gate, which is actually the second book in the 5th season. I decided, I was like, fuck, I need to continue reading this series. Because the first book ended in such a cliffhanger, I was like, wait, I need to continue this series. And I read book 2. I enjoyed this book, but it was not as good as the first one. This one I rated 4 stars. It was still really good. The second book, it just continued really well, but there was just certain things that I just didn't care enough about. I was like not enjoying the series as much. Maybe I was just on such a high after a novel love story that I was just like, fuck, I don't see the point of this book. But I don't know. I was just like, okay, cool. The ending ended. It was a good ending. It did end in a cliffhanger, but I was just not in the mood to continue it. I might finish the series at some point because I literally have 1 book left, and I do want to start like a billion other series, so I feel I need to finish this, but I don't know. Obelisk Gate was good. I still enjoyed the characters. Like, obviously, a bunch changed, but I feel like some of the changes that were made or, like, some of the things that happened to the characters and to the plot, I was just a bit like, okay, I kind of didn't want this. I wasn't here for this, But I enjoyed it. It was a 4 stars. Overall, it was good. I would recommend you still read the series. At least get through the first book. The first book is amazing. After that, do what you want. And then I was like, okay, you know what, girl? You started the 5th season series. You started so many series over the year. You need to get rid of some. And so I decided to finish the Rose Hill series, and I decided to read Wildcard. Wildcard is what is it? I think it was it a ex-boyfriend's dad story? Was it this one, or was it the one right before that? Wildcard, let me check. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh yeah, it is. I remember that. It was, like, usually I'm not exactly there. I don't absolutely love when there's an age gap. Obviously, if it's done well and it's done, like I said, well, then I'm going to enjoy it. But this one, like, it was okay. I just didn't feel it was anything special. I loved Wild Eyes and Wild Love. Wild Eyes was my favorite of the entire series. But the last 2 books just didn't feel the same. Wildcard and, I don't know, Wild something was a green cover. Those 2 were not as good, but Wildcard, it just felt like it was okay. It was just there. It was just to finish the series because, like, I knew this was going to be the next one. I just didn't care enough about any of the characters to form a huge attachment. I did rate it, like, what did I rate it? 3.5? Yeah, 3.5 stars. So it's a good book overall, and I enjoyed the main female character. I forgot her name. What is it? Okay, I don't know. But, like, and, like, I like how they approach the fact of the age gap and the ex-boyfriend's dad sort of thing. Like, I enjoyed how they didn't just skim over. They're like, okay, well, you're my ex-boyfriend's dad. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Let's continue with life. And, like, they kind of skim over that. They didn't do that. They talked about it, which is what I like. I hate when they just skim over the fact that there is that issue. They're just like, oh, yeah, it's like this. Like, I hate when they do that. So I'm really happy with how they approach the topic. That was something that was really good, but I didn't care too much. But, like, the communication was good. That's what I love. I hate when there's miscommunication or they just don't communicate at all. And so I like how they approach this, but I didn't care enough. I just, but that's it. I don't have any more thoughts. Next, I read In Your Dreams, which is the final book in the When in Rome series. I felt like I needed to, as I said earlier, I needed to finish series. So I decided to read In Your Dreams. It is the last book in the When in Rome series. I was so excited to finally read it. It literally came out on one of the last days of December of last year. So, it's, like, insane. And I was just like, I needed to read it because we had the first book with Noah, the oldest brother. Then we had Annie, for the second book. She's the youngest sibling. Then we had Emily. She's, like, the oldest sister. So she's like second born, and like we followed her troubles. And then now we have Maddie, and I was just so excited to read about hers because we got literally everybody else, and like we saw snippets of her, but we didn't know yet too much. If you can't tell, this is all like siblings books, and they're each partners, and and we follow Madison. She left Rome, Kentucky, which is a small town, to go into the culinary world. She moved to New York because she's like, fuck, I need to become a chef. I'm gonna get through it. But after years of chasing that success, she just feels like all her confidence is gone. She needs a fresh start. So she decides to move back to her house. This was sort of unexpected because she gets a job offer that randomly comes on, which lets her like rebuild everything, become a head chef in a new farm-to-table restaurant in her hometown. The only catch is that it comes from James, who is the owner of the Huxley farm. He is her brother's best friend, and he's the last person she wants to work with. Okay, James is like, he's always been sort of like the brother that took it simply. He was like, I just need to do the best by my parents. I don't want to make it complicated. But then when he finds out about Madison and everything, he's like, fuck, I need to help her, because he's loved her quietly for so many years, but he knew that she felt nothing of that. But she's not back, and he's like, okay, I have to change that. And the only thing is, I need to become her friend. But he has a wildly successful younger brother, Tommy, who's like, oh no, I'm gonna win her over first. Man, you don't have a chance, And yeah, so that's sort of the idea. They're tasked with launching a restaurant, what I was trying to say. And but obviously, this little small town, everybody has to meddle into their business. Everybody has to be there and be like, hey, what is happening, guys? So, I love the small town. I love the characters in the small town. They just make it so charming. It's so beautiful. And I love Sarah Adams' writing. I love it. It is so fun. It's so quick. The book is just so fast-paced. Like, you can read it in a day, and you'll enjoy it. Like, I love that fact about it. And I was just really happy reading this. This is like a friends to lovers, small town. I love small towns. And this one is just so perfect. Like, sometimes small towns just feel like they say that it's like the authors say that it's small town just, because that's popular in the romance world, I feel like sometimes. But this just made it so much funner. I loved it. I love all the characters. And I love seeing the siblings from the other books. That, like, for me, that's the best thing ever. That's what I loved most about it. And I rated the book 4.5 stars. It was so good. It was so fun to read. I just really enjoyed it. Next, I decided to start my manga journey, and I read One Piece, the first book, Romance Dawn. I have been reading it sort of like on and off for like since of last year, but like I read maybe like 2 chapters and then I stopped, and then I finally remembered about it, and I had nothing to read, so I decided to read it. And I don't have ratings for it. I don't have a rating, but let me talk a bit about it. So it follows Monkey D. Luffy. He wants to become a pirate. He has a very simple goal. He wants to become a pirate, and do all that sort of stuff. And you sort of follow his journey as he tries to become that. He finds new friends that will join his crew and all of that. In the first book, you're sort of just following like the fact that he wants to become that and how he's slowly getting to that. And then I also read the second book of that, which is Buggy the Clown. Now, One Piece is a very, very long manga. I think they're still releasing. I think they're still releasing some books there. So I have a bunch to get through. Like, I actually made on my notes app like a whole thing for volumes. The app that I'm reading it on, because it took me a while to find an app from where I could read like the entire One Piece, because like I couldn't find anywhere, and then I found it, Manga Plus. It is free. You can just download it. They have a bunch of different mangas, but like the thing is, like if you read a chapter, then afterwards you can't really reread it unless if you want to pay for the Plus version. That's something you should know if you decide that you want to read manga, and that happens. But yeah, I don't have too many thoughts. It's fun. It's easy to read. After the second one, I haven't actually gotten to starting the third one, but I'm slowly going to get through them. I feel like it's just sort of like a manga to read on the side. It's not something serious. I'm not going to be reading 20 of them, though I could do a video where I'm just reading manga and I'll just continue reading One Piece. I could always do that, depending if you guys will enjoy that or not. But yeah, that's the idea. Then I decided to read Guild. Guild is a book that I've been seeing on... Everybody has read it, pretty much, I have a feeling. Like, it's just very popular. It's not the most popular, it's not ACOTAR popular, but it's popular. What I'm trying to say, I decided to finally read it. It is a King Midas retelling. Like, if you don't know the story, is that there's this king who can turn everything to gold. He touches something, it turns to gold. Bing, 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 he's rich. You get the idea. Okay, so King Midas. So this book follows this one girl, I forgot her name. Let me see if I know it. I don't know her name. But She gets rescued by King Midas, and he turns her to gold. She becomes gold everything, okay? And she is his favored, his best. He is the woman that he gold touched to show everyone that she belongs to him, right? And he gave her protection. She gave him her heart, and she does not want to leave the palace. She's a prisoner. Okay, I can tell you this much. She's a prisoner, but she doesn't really feel that way. She's like, no, he loves me. He loves me. He told me he saved me from how I lived. He made me gold. I am not a prisoner. He loves me. I love him. He loves me. That's sort of the idea. And she's kept in like cage. She's a bit delusional about that fact. That it's not a cage. It is a home. That's her way of thinking about it. Okay. And the world is in Aurea, and they have sort of like kingdoms. I don't know how many, like 7 maybe. I have no clue. There's this like the kingdom of gold. But yeah, that's sort of what we follow. I feel like this book was really easy to read. It was not something super hard. It was just quick and fun, but I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't feel anything for it, like, at all. Like, it's a cool idea, but I feel like the execution was a bit, like, I don't know. Like, you should check trigger warnings a bit. Like, it does have a few dark matters. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Was it really that dark? I don't think so, but obviously it is spicy. I don't have really any thoughts about the book. I don't know, maybe... I don't know if you guys can even hear me. Did you hear what I talked about in the last few minutes? Let's hope yes. But anyways, I didn't feel anything for this book. It was just so easy to read, but that's it. That's all I felt for it. I rated it 3.5 stars. It could honestly just be a 3. I didn't have any crazy thoughts about it. Low-key, I just read it, That's the idea. Next, I read a book that has been on my radar since I started my booktube journey, okay? I would say. And that is A Little Life. If you don't know A Little Life, it is one of the saddest, darkest books there could ever be on this planet. I feel like, I don't know. I haven't read a book this dark in a long time. Like, obviously, Boys of Tommen is dark, but it has its romance in it. This is pretty much, I would say it's a literary fiction, and it is dark. It is dark, dark, dark. It follows 4 characters, JB, Marcus, something with M. Let me check his name, because it's gonna annoy me until I remember his name. Is it Marcus? Malcolm. Okay, so we follow JB, Malcolm, Willem, and Jude. They're friends. They're broke. They're adrift, and they sort of moved in together for college, and they moved to New York to make their way across the world. And we follow their friendship through decades, okay, as it deepens. And there's so many things that it goes through. It goes through addiction, success, like a bunch of Okay, I've been talking for over half an hour, but that's okay. Anyways, we're back. This book is not light. It is not easy to read. It has a lot of dark topics. I don't want you guys to think, oh, she read it, you'll survive it. No, it is not an easy book to read. I still think about it. I did rate it 4.5 stars. It is not a 5-star book for me. It's just, I feel like it's because for me, it was the ending that sort of forced it to become a 4.5. Otherwise, I feel like I would have rated it 5 stars. I'm not going to talk about the ending. If you want to see my full thoughts, watch the reading vlog. I have sections with spoilers, but I mark it down so you guys know where to skip so you don't get any spoilers if you have not read this book. But I would say if you do still want to read this, knowing how dark it is, I would still check trigger warnings, though could it be a spoiler? Maybe, but in a sort of way, it is not an easy book to read at all. I sobbed twice, well, maybe even more, and it is not an easy book. It takes a second also to get into, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but I don't recommend it. I only say read it in your own discretion, knowing how much you can go through in this book. Next, I decided I need something light. I need something that won't make me feel like death itself, because after reading this book, I thought it was okay. Right after finishing, I was like, because of how the ending was, I thought like, oh no, this book is okay. Like, I'm sad, but I can maybe read another sad book. I was wrong. After I reviewed it and talked about it in depth in my reading vlog, I was like, fuck, I can't. So I decided to read Love You Too, which is a romance. Something super simple, something super easy to quickly read. It is a accidental pregnancy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. It is fun, it is easy, it is quick, it is a small town story, okay? So, and it also is second chance. 10 years ago, they were college sweethearts. It follows Ren and, I don't know the girl's name. I don't know her name. But, they were called sweethearts. Ren was scouted out to become a pro hockey player in Canada. And he was like, what the hell, I need to do that. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave. And so they sort of ended not in the best way. And then 10 years later, she she is a designer. She runs 2 restaurants and an inn at her own family winery in Buttercup Hill. Okay, she's like, nothing is missing. She's sort of a workaholic. But then Ren moves back into her small town. And she's like, fuck, I remember you. I don't want to remember you, you know? She is a type A type of person. But after a wild night, she pretty much gets surprised with a pink plus sign on her pregnancy test. And so we sort of follow that, you know? It is a fun book. It was really quick and easy to read. The small town is fun, but I wish it was a bit more small town, you know? I love when, like, there's, like, the meddling ones that are like, oh, what is going on over here? Like, I don't know. I wish we got a few more background characters, because we were, obviously, like, we're following those 2 people, but I wanted more. But I still enjoyed this book. I rated it 3.5 stars. It was really good as a palate cleanser, sort of. Really good to just read right after I Live a Life, just so I can, you know, calm down. But I still didn't feel fully calm, so I read Out on a Limb, which is a book I've heard about quite a bit. This is also an accidental pregnancy. You see where I'm coming from. I was just like, I need something quick, fun, and easy. It was sort of fun and easy, but it also had a bit of its own dark matters. Well, sort of. I really enjoyed it, though. It was so fun to read. This one, though, follows, wait, I forgot what they do. So we are following Win McNutley, and she does not like being cuddled because she has a limb difference. She has like a smaller left hand, I think it was, and she's like, I'm living my life and I'm having fun. She also has a best friend that I absolutely love. I love Sarah. I think actually her book is second, and she's like perfectly fine with her life until she has a one-night stand with Bo, who's a perfect stranger, and they sort of like go through life after finding out that she gets pregnant, and like you're sort of following that. But I love it. It is so fun. I feel like it was like such a good book. Like they had their own like funny jokes. Let me see if I think I saved some of the things, some of the quotes, just because it was just so funny for no apparent reason, but I just love that about them. It was like they had their differences, you know, but it was just so fun for me. And oh, this is so random. I cannot believe I'm having a baby with the Lord of the Rings virgin. This is amazing. And she was like, I swear you were less excited to have than you are right now, you know, because she's like, what do you want to watch? And she's like, and like they ask, oh yeah, like he asked like, which of his movies have you not seen? And she's like, I haven't watched Lord of the Rings. And he's like, oh my god, that is insane. Like he's sort of a nerd and she's a nerd in her own sort of way. Well, not really, but he is, and it's just so funny. I love this story. It's so, like, obviously they have their own like sort of dark matters, but it is so fun to read. It is so quick and easy. Like I love the wittiness and the banter of it all. Like, I probably was laughing half the time. Like, there's one thing that they said and I couldn't hold it in. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, I rated 3.75 stars. It was really good. It was so fun to read. And the last book I read was Wild Reverence. I read one other book by Rebecca Ross. I think it was, what's it called? It's a duology. I really enjoyed it. I feel like other people enjoyed the second book less. I forgot the name. It doesn't matter. If I remember, then I remember. But Wild Reverence is a fantasy. It is a standalone. I was seeing like quite a few people talk about it, and I feel like that's why I wanted to read it. It was like, okay, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. But pretty much, it is a fantasy romance, and we are following Matilda. She is the youngest goddess of her clan, and she's blessed with messenger magic. She is used to carry words and letters throughout the realms, but the gods will kill for power, any power at all, and she has a secret that she must hide even to her dearest allies. But there's a mortal that she dreams of, okay? Well, who dreams of her, sort of. And they have never met in real life, never. And 10 years ago, Vincent, okay, that's his name, Vincent of Beckett, he wrote to Matilda on the darkest night of his life, begging the goddess he befriended in dreams to help him. His request went unanswered, and he was like, okay, and he just became a Lord of the River who long forgot Matilda until she came stumbling into his bedroom window with a letter for him. And they were sort of fated for each other beyond the dreams. But Matilda will have to face something she fears even more than losing her magic. And like we sort of follow that. It is like a sort of fated lover sort of thing. It is so fun to read. It is so quick. But like it took me a second to read. I don't know. I feel like it was an interesting book and it was fun to read. But I didn't feel as attached to the story as I feel like others did. Like, it literally won the nominee for the best romantasy last year, but I didn't feel as attached to it as I feel like a lot of people were. But whatever. It was still fun. And it did sort of give, like, what the other series that she wrote did. What the fuck is that other series called? I'm actually gonna kill myself if I can. Oh, yeah, The Divine Rivals. Like, Letters of Enchantment. That one was, like, what I read by her. I haven't read anything since, but Wild Reverence, I felt like everybody was talking about it, so I needed to know.
what it was like. Oh, actually, it's like a book 0 for that series. But I think you can just read this book without having read Divine Rivals. But I did enjoy Divine Rivals more. Maybe I'm biased, but I rated Wild Reverence 2.5 stars. It's an interesting plot idea, and I really enjoyed the whole romance of it. It was really fun, but I just didn't feel anything super exciting about the story. But yeah, that's it. That's sort of all I wanted to say. And that's all of the 12 books I read in the month of January. January was both like a slow month and a good month. I don't know, like, I read the 5th season, which I really enjoyed. I read A Little Life, which destroyed me, and I read a few romances that were actually really good, you know? And in February, I'm actually starting this month with reading Girl in Pieces. I was actually planning, okay, let me tell a little funny story, okay? I was planning to read Girl in Pieces right after, as I started A Little Life, I went to the bookstore with my friends, and it was a very dangerous bookstore experience. Not like anything insane happened, okay? But pretty much, one of my friends, she's starting her reading journey, and she was buying a lot of books, right? That's dangerous, because I wanted to buy books. I bought one book in the end, and that was The Will of the Many. I still have yet to read it. I know, don't get mad at me. I will read it this year. I'll read it someday. Anyways, but and I found Girl in Pieces there. I didn't buy it, but we started talking about it, and she's like, wait, you haven't read it yet? Because, like, she was asking me, like, hey, have you read this book, and this book, and this book? And I was like, I have read those, but I've not read Girl in Pieces, because I've sort of been scared. Like, I have had it on my TBR for a while, and then I sort of forgot about it, and then I remembered, and I was like, wait, actually, maybe I'll read Girl in Pieces after A Little Life. But then after I finished A Little Life, and I went through the whole shenanigan of realizing how down bad I was for it, I needed to read those romances, and then I was, okay, let's read Wild Reverence, and so I've sort of been putting off, again, Girl in Pieces. But since I already have it downloaded, I'm gonna start reading it today. Well, I have started, but I'm only like 3% into it, so there's nothing to talk about. But yeah, that's gonna be my first read of February. I have quite a few fun things planned for February. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but like, you know, I have ideas here and there. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really wanted to say. I am gonna get going. We have talked for a long time. I'm sort of tired. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I'm gonna get going. But I hope you guys enjoyed the January wrap-up. I know it's been sort of all over the place, and I stopped crocheting 10 minutes into the video, but that's fine. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.